I will not sit up in the nosebleeds. I will not stop until they know me. I want you all to listen closely before I motherfucking proceed. Yeah, when you're grinding on the low key and they're complacent with their own needs.
Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? It is the Last Week in Wrestling podcast, and you know what that means. It's Thursday, so it's time to do another great episode. And of course, I got a very, very special guest, a new face into the community right now over here on the podcast. But of course, we're going to get to him very shortly. Let me do my little nonsense intro that probably everyone skips so that the other side of the screen. Of course, I am D Macho Nacho himself, the host of the Last Week in Wrestling podcast, where you get everything from wrestling news, takes, fast booking, crazy opinions, and a whole bunch of other amazing, amazing stuff right here on YouTube, on Twitch. Of course, each and every week we do a bunch of watch-alongs, podcasts. Now we got gaming coming. It's a slew of content, so you don't want to miss out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you are not subscribed already, shout out to everybody in the TikTok chat and everything going on over there. But my guy, Mr. Michael, how are you from Suplex Media? How's everything? I'm so happy to be taking you away from your family and now bothering you for about a little while to talk about wrestling, our favorite topic probably to always talk about. So, Mike, who are you? What's going on? How you doing today, buddy?
Dylan, I'm doing great, man. It's not taking me away from my family. It's hanging out with my secret second family. You guys are like a family in St. Louis that I see because I'm a 1950s businessman and I can have multiple families. So it's always great to spend time with you. Anytime we're talking wrestling, it's good. Shout out to pro wrestling this week. It's Wednesday. What's it? No, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. It's already been a tremendous week of professional wrestling.
Absolutely.
We're blessed. We're honestly blessed. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I don't know what else you want from WWE, NXT, or what you want with AEW. I mean, everything's been stellar.
It's been wild. It's been a wild ride. We had Monday Night Raw. We had NXT and AEW. The TV war is over. Yes, it has been now 2 days of wild drama, which, of course, we will get into all of that nonsense as we get into the second half of our show. But, of course, we have to kick it off with the WWE, and we have a slew of things to talk about, like new tag team champions, Bo Dallas possibly continuing the story of Bray Wyatt, and so much more. So let's get right into it. We have brand new tag team champions. Yes, you heard it here. We have brand new tag team champions, main event Jey Uso, I should say. And of course, the American roller coaster, as his good buddy MJF would say, hanging over on AEW, is now tag team champions. They took it away from the Judgment Day, Mike. What the hell? What's going on? Is this it? Yeet for everybody coming in, right? Yeet. I mean,
Yeet. I was going to say that was the first thing I had to say was yeet, man. By the way, Yeet t-shirts incoming. Get ready. www.shop.com. No doubt in my mind, it'll be a top-selling shirt. You'll see it on. If you don't see it on Raw by next week, ball dropped. 100%.
Yeah. And if they don't do it, I'm doing it, and I'm gonna send you a size. So that way, the next time you're on, we're gonna be wearing those and supporting the Yeet movement.
The Yeet movement. Yeet. That's hilarious. I do worry though it may trigger people to throw things or yeet them from the stands, or at least they got to do a t-shirt toss, right? They got to toss the Yeet shirt. Okay.
Yeet the Yeet shirt, yeah.
But outside of Yeet, I wonder what this is all building to with Cody and Roman. I believe this is building to Cody and Roman. It almost has to be, and I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, start putting my strings on the wall here, but I think Cody's story still not finished. They talked about that recently. I think that story ends with the WWE champion Roman Reigns.
I hope. I mean, in a way I hope, in a way I don't. we've been, since WrestleMania 39, we have been on a whirlwind roller coaster with Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes said he's going to finish the story. He didn't. Then, he got taken away. Things happened. Then he moved from SmackDown to Raw for the trade. Of course, we had the brand split that everybody was talking about that, in all honesty, never really maintained its stature as weeks progressed. So then after all this, more pay-per-views came and went. Him and Brock finished the story. Now we're at Fastlane, right? That was the one that they just won in that. It's been so many pay-per-views, man. It's hard to keep up sometimes. But Fastlane comes, Fastlane goes, and now we have brand new tag team champions in main event Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. And in all honesty, in my opinion, this is a terrible decision. It is a terrible decision. I think that the biggest thing that WWE is lacking is an actual tag team division. Mm-hmm. And the tag team division that they do have is not getting any spotlight. We're missing the fact of the Alpha Academy, the New Day, the Imperium, okay? We're missing the Viking Raiders, the Street Profits. There's DIY now that just finally reunited with each other. Gargano is back, baby. And now Jey and Cody Rhodes put together themselves as a team, the Yeet Squad, I'm going to call them for now, and they're tag team champions instead. And it just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem like they are understanding the concept from when me and you were younger fans and fans of the WWE, the WWF. We really want to start showing our ages here at the moment. The tag team division, right? We got to put that men's hair in there.
Yeah,
I'm wearing a hat, man. My hairline's starting to fall back like LeBron, so I gotta kind of cover up now. But listen, to me, it just feels like the biggest thing that WWE is lacking, at least one of the major ones, is the fact that there is no tag team division. These belts are made for the tag teams that actually come out with each other. The guys that dressed like one another. They had the same music. They had finishers that connected the same. They had movements that they connected the same. They worked together in unison. And Cody and Jey, they might be great in the press conference area in unison, but in the ring, side by side, it just doesn't seem all there. Even Sammy and Kevin didn't really seem like a tag team to be excited for, or many people even say the Judgment Day might have been a bad decision of having someone like Finn and Damian, because again, these guys are single stars. Everyone that I just mentioned. Yeah. Sammy's had a great run. He's had a match at Elimination Chamber in his hometown in the beginning of this year for Roman's big belt. Okay, now Sammy did it. Damian now has the Senior Money in the Bank. Finn has had multiple opportunities to be that man, the guy. Himself as a world heavyweight champion against Seth Rollins. All of these things have happened, and yet it still feels like we're just mashing teams together. So, I'm going to let you speak, and I want to hear from you now. Like, how do you truly feel about all of this kind of colliding and maybe steering away from actual tag teams in this division?
You bring up a very good point. You think about the tag teams, the ones that you and I grew up with. They were the coolest ones on the show. The Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys. Dude, we're talking 3 purpose-built tag teams that put on one of the, I would say, the best tag match that's ever existed. I understand that it's a TLC match, but it's still 6 men on teams, right? So I think that the purpose-built tag team has a place in pro wrestling. There's nothing I love more, because you can, it doesn't matter who you are. You're watching pro wrestling. You've probably had one friend in your life. Unless you're like MJF and you're just now getting your very first best friend of all times. You know what that's like. And you're watching 2 guys out there that are just like Edge and Christian. Oh my God, I absolutely love them, because you're getting to go out there and do that. Yeah, you're doing that. Your best friend. Can you imagine? Hey, my 10-year-old best friend Josh, who I don't talk anymore, I should call him. But you and me are going to be tag team champions and rule the professional wrestling world for a long time. And then in that same time in the 90s, we got a program for Hunter and Steve Austin. We're going to put them together, and they're just going to two-man power trip's going to kill everybody. And you're like, why do I get invested in my tag teams if two single stars who hate each other, like that's the story here, they can't stand each other, can just come together and beat me in the power of friendship? It's not fair.
Right.
That's not how the world works. Friendship is you'll beat anything.
Right.
But it teaches you not to care about the tag teams. And that's heartbreaking considering we're in a tag team renaissance with AEW, not so much WWE, but you have the Bucks and FTR, and I won't go too deep into it, but I like seeing purpose-built tag teams because what you touched on with the combos and how they're intertwined, the psychology. So I'd speak to this just a little bit.
Go right ahead.
In the world of, so to give people a little background, we'll get more to it later. I used to be the director of Ohio Valley Wrestling for about 4 or 5 years in my 20s. So the thing was about tag team wrestling, and it's what working in professional wrestling made me fall in love with tag team wrestling. Working with Al Snow, the way he would talk to the tag teams, the psychology of cutting off that corner, making sure that you're keeping your opponent in between you and your partner in that corner, keeping them there. Always working together for the goal, which is the pinfall. And so it's just throwing that extra layer of psychology about like ring awareness. I really enjoy that. And it's something that I notice now with folks not doing it, with your odd couple tag teams. It's just, I'm a singles wrestler. I go do my single stuff. We tag. We're going to do like a little combination of one of my moves and your moves for our finish. That's it. No, but like watch somebody like the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders, perfect example. Every time they tag, there's going to be a double team move, and it's going to look like it should send someone to Valhalla. Like, it's just tag team wrestling is it's a beautiful art form, and it is. If you like it, the WWE is not your main supplier of it, unfortunately. And I think you're right with Cody. That's why I think this it's got to be pushing the Cody, Jay, Roman story some way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you again, you touched on it beautifully with how, like, the comparison of growing up from where we were in the late 90s, early 90s to the early 2000s to even close going up to the 2010s. We had these magnificent tag teams that came across our screens almost like ballerinas in a Broadway play. And it just was a beautiful symphony that no matter what happened, we knew the best of the best was on our screen and we needed to stay glued. And AEW has done that a lot. They've brought up a lot of different talented superstars that have great tag team in them, like the Aussie Open, like the Righteous, like FTR, the Bucks, the Kenny Omega and Ibushi, the Golden Lovers. Like, all of that is true tag team art, and to a form to such a high standard that now I feel like the WWE has kind of steered away from that and now is solely focused on their single stars and their story beats that they try to hit each and every week with doing these segments. But yet, on times they fall short. They almost fall flat on their faces at moments because a lot of their story beats that they try to hit aren't connecting with people like us, maybe, that have been watching this product for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, etc. And now we're at an era where our generation is old. We're the old now. We're the old heads. We're the OGs. We're the complainers on the nosebleeds now. I don't want to pay the extra money for the front row anymore. It's all the kids. The kids now, the younger generation, the age bracket of the teenagers now are the ones going into these things, the fathers, the mothers. They're bringing the family now to this wrestling sport. You see a lot of that as well in AEW, but AEW has that feel almost of that older generation now into that modern light. And it seems like WWE has kind of branched off into its own thing of this We're making superstars to make movies, to make TV shows, to just have this beautiful circle effect that keeps going back to its home base, which is the WWE. And, it works. It does work. I mean, we're talking about it. So it's working. If it wasn't working, we wouldn't be having this topic. But generally speaking, it is seeming like that lackluster effort of non-creative minds coming together to just throw names together to see if it works. Don't get me wrong, Triple H and Shawn and Steve Austin would be great maybe as a tag team, especially if they're bitter rivals. They got to work together before the pay-per-view for the next 2 weeks before No Mercy. And it's like, okay, like how is this really going to work out? Now that's something. But Jay and Cody love each other. They're drinking after the show. They're hanging out. They're coming to NXT. They're doing this, they're doing that. There's a whole bunch of things that are happening now that is very different compared to what it used to be. So hopefully we start seeing some more tag teams in the future. Maybe we go back on track with that tag team division and we see what is going to be happening with that. But for now, it is a wait and see. But speaking of waiting and seeing, Crown Jewel is a few weeks away, about 5-ish weeks away from going to be happening here on the States and everything. It's an early day show for all of us here in the States because it's over there. It's going to be nighttime in Saudi Arabia. And Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins are the main event as we speak for right now for the World Heavyweight Championship. Finally, Drew McIntyre is getting his licks in to try to become the World Heavyweight Champion. He had an amazing match at WrestleMania 39 against Gunther, and of course with Sheamus side by side in that triple threat match. But now it is time for McIntyre to maybe get gold of his own, maybe have a fresh start as a champion without the TVs behind him during that pandemic era of him being champion, a missed opportunity of him regaining gold. So how do you feel that maybe Drew's now on this heel movement going into full gear, into Crown Jewel, than this normal Drew McIntyre that we know is a very fun-loving Scottish warrior who comes out with the Claymore and everything, and now he's this like villain almost in the locker room ever since Jay has come back, and maybe that does play into effect with what is going on. So what are your thoughts?
Originally when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, man, this kind of just seems like Seth needed a heel competitor. But now that I'm thinking about it more, Drew McIntyre needs something different. The Claymore, okay, cool. Flaming sword, like I don't know how much cooler you can get than a literal flaming sword.
True.
But he's not. I don't want to say he's not getting over. I think that he is not at his ceiling. I think that's the best way to put it. I think that he could be bigger than he is right now. We've seen what he can do. His work in TNA, stellar. His work on the Indies, tremendous. Give the man enough space to let him work, but also give him that deserved title. He carried you all through the pandemic.
Yes, he did.
And it wasn't pretty. It was tough for everybody. But you know what? You could count on him. I'm not saying just because of the pandemic you could count on other people, but he was there, and he, much like her name's escaping me, the new AEW Women's Champion, Hikaru Shida. She was the champ during COVID, and I think that her and Drew deserve to have full houses cheering for them as they raise a title. And I can't think of a better place for Drew McIntyre to win than in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Okay, except maybe at Clash of the Castle. That might have been a better one. But hey, Saudi Arabia's probably closer to Glasgow than Rosita is. So, we'll go with
kind of, right? Someone's got to pull the map and let us know. But absolutely. Yeah, to me, I think that this new look, this new character of Drew McIntyre is a little more fun. I mean, we saw him this past Monday. Damian Priest was beating the piss out of Seth Rollins, and Dominic's coming out there, Dirty Dom, with that briefcase for Senior Money in the Bank, and all of a sudden Drew's like, nah, buddy, it ain't happening today. So chucked it like the Jets chucked their whole entire season right there with Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Jets fans, I know, but hey, man, I'm a New Yorker. I feel your pain, and no opportunity now, buddy, because guess what? It's my turn. It's my time. As somebody used to say back in the early 2000s, it's my time to shine, Mr. Cena himself. So, it really feels like this might be that perfect segue for Seth Rollins to take his break. We've known that his injuries have now stacked very high. His back is becoming one of the biggest and most important things for himself to be able to still do all of the regular work that he wants to do. He has a baby. He wants to still be able to move around with that baby and be able to hang out and play with his child at home and stuff, not be in a wheelchair, not be laid up in bed like a sorry sack and not being able to move because daddy wanted to impress the whole entire business that he could still take table shots from 10 feet above the air and do all these crazy things. It's like, maybe this is that time that now Seth can take his leap of absence, maybe come back during the Royal Rumble season as a surprise and be welcomed back with open arms, as we all will. Give him that open arm welcome and just see his new fully healed body kind of perform at that next caliber that we know he can. He's a revolutionary. He calls himself a visionary, a messiah of the whole entire wrestling business, the anarchist himself. So, it just seems to me like it might be this perfect time for now Drew to get his moment to shine and really put the WWE on his back and forego it until that next year comes around and let Seth go home. He's done a lot, Seth. Seth's had an amazing time. He's been a hell of a champion, a fighting champion, a better fighting and defending champion than Roman Reigns. He's a lot more present than Roman has been throughout his time being champion. He's been willing to defend it on multiple occasions, on regular TV even, to prove that he is a true fighting champion. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is Drew's time. Maybe it is. Maybe the glass cow kick will really work and send Seth home for a few months, a little bit of time. Christmas is coming, so maybe this might be a nice Christmas present.
Oh, my devious mind of wrestling writing is already turning here. No. We're not sending Seth out with a Claymore kick.
Oh my gosh.
And Drew McIntyre may win at Crown Jewel, but he's not leaving Saudi Arabia with the title.
Oh.
Damian Priest, Here it is. This is how you book it. This is money, baby. This is money. Damian Priest comes in to cash it, but Seth is starting to wake up, and he's ready to chuck the briefcase this time. But who comes out? Finn Balor puts the beat down on Seth, and they beat the living hell out of both Seth and Drew, leaving Drew laying for the pinfall. But then the piece de la resistance, Finn Balor walks back to the ring, and he power bombs Seth into the guardrail. Same thing that took Finn out, cost him his title. We send them out with a lot of heat. Stretcher job, the whole thing on Seth Rollins. He's gone for 6 months. He comes back like House of Fire at the Royal Rumble with a taste for the Judgment Day.
Wow. Now that's not a bad idea.
Seth gets his vacation. Drew gets his pop, and you get your Senior Money in the Bank cash in. Yeah. And it re-strengthens the Judgment Day. What was feeling like they're kind of falling apart? Oh, you know what was cool? When we murdered those two dudes, we're buddies forever now.
And we'll talk about this for a little bit before we get into our last topic for WWE. Is somebody on TikTok? I kind of did a duet or a stitched or whatever the hell it's called over there with someone from TikTok about who do you think could be leaving the Judgment Day? And I said it was Damian. With what has happened recently in the past pay-per-view, JD McDonough is supposed to be a part of this family, has screwed him over. Damian and Finn were around and Rhea wasn't there to helped them retain and everything, including Dirty Dom. Like this whole family, this whole friendship that they've all kind of gathered together and been a part of now has almost fallen, or I mean, it's been falling at the wayside at moments for sure in the beginning before becoming tag team champions, but it's starting to peel back that new layer now of it falling apart. And it seems like Damian is at a point where he doesn't know that if he were to cash in, is his friends going to be there like Finn to make sure he becomes now the world heavyweight champion? Or does Finn's greed, his self-loathing of hate of Seth Rollins gets in the way and costs Damian that opportunity, let's say at Crown Jewel? Maybe they do everything you just said. Now Drew's laying there. He's defeated. He's broken. He's bruised. He's battered. It's easy pickings. Damian goes for the pin, but Finn stops it. And now Finn and Damian are going one-on-one with each other, costing Damian the lost cash in. Now there's no more cash, and he tried it. Drew got the pinfall on Damian, continued his pop, let the pop continue on all the way to the back. But now Damian sees the true self of Finn Balor. He now knows that Finn's always wanted this belt, and it was going to be no matter what and no matter how he was going to be the champion. If it was screwing over his own family, his own La Familia, as he calls them, like this is it. This could be that moment for everything. And I don't know if that's something that many people have thought about. You know, we've seen it, as I've said, throughout this time as champion, but maybe Finn's already had this in his head. Maybe this is his back thought that's now starting to move to the front with Crown Jewel approaching. Because again, Finn didn't come out to help Damian cash in on Monday, nor did Rhea, but they were there. Dominic was. But where was Rhea? Where was Rhea to catch the briefcase in midair and move Drew out of the way? Where was Finn to try to lure Drew out of there so that way he can have him cash in on Seth right there and right then? So that way it was Damian and Drew at Crown Jewel instead. What happened? Where are they? Where's my friends? Where's my family? So I don't really understand why, you know, it's been this feeling I've had for the fact that Damian might be the one to be splitting away from the Judgment Day by force, not even by choice. It feels like by force, but how do you feel about that?
I think, you know, I think one of the chatters here, someone in the chat alluded to saying Damian first. I think you guys are both right. I think that's how you have to do it. You know, I think Damian, you know, you mentioned him cashing in and that cost possibly being the him not winning. Right. So like my thought though with that, and I totally see where you're coming from. My thought though is that I think they want to put it on him. They want to put the title on Damian Priest. I mean, specifically, like, look at that stuff from Backlash. Him and Bad Bunny, one of the most viral moments of professional wrestling in the last 5-10 years. It's crazy. Dude, you watch, you need an energy drink in the morning? No, you just need to watch the Bad Bunny entrance from Backlash. You'll be fine. Absolutely. But the only thing that I think what might help is I want to see the gold kind. I want to see Damian Priest win. Mm-hmm. But I don't want the Judgment Day to break up. I want Finn just being so close to the gold at all times. That's what slowly drives him mad. And maybe that's how we could get the demon character back, is that lust for the gold. Yeah, you killed him. I mean, the top rope collapsed and whatnot, but maybe that's the way you bring him back. But Damian Priest would be a great champion. First of all, killer look. Dude looks amazing.
Built.
Also, I think he's a talented wrestler. I mean, he's one of those. You turn on the TV, he's got the it factor. You turn on the TV, you see this tall man with his very cool hair and his like combat gothic wear, and you're like, sick. That's awesome. I want to watch this dude.
Yeah, and he was a great United States champion. And I think many people forget how good he was as United States champion. And now him as tag team champion, it just proves that he is one of those guys that can be a very well put over the moon type of superstar with a belt. I know there's been a lot of discussions about LA Knight throughout all of this, nonsense that has happened since his transformation into LA Knight and the Yeah movement and everything. But Damian is that guy. It feels like it's very natural for him to be a bad guy. It feels very natural for him to be a bad guy champion. And that's maybe something that the WWE hasn't seen just yet. We've had Bray, we've had a whole bunch of other evil-like characters, Undertaker, Kane, Triple H, which you could say, Shawn Michaels, you could say, but that's a whole
Did
different.
You ask the boys in the back?
Yeah, exactly. But all in all, it is that common. How can I put this? It's that common sense. I feel that's been spreading around in the back of Damian definitely deserves it. Damian definitely believes he deserves it, and I think that the time is coming very rapidly, and possibly by the end of the year. Maybe Survivor Series, maybe it isn't Crown Jewel, maybe it is Survivor Series, and that's how we end the year off for the WWE with a brand new World Heavyweight Champion. Like it all depends on who else is up for grabs at that moment. We have, like I said, the talks of LA Knight, and then we got Cody, we got Roman still cooking around, and then Jay and all these other guys and stuff. But again, it just doesn't seem like anybody else is really as close as either Finn or Damian. And I feel like Damian is a lot closer to that goal post than someone else is, as much as they might try to stretch themselves as far as they can. It's never going to come that close. You're never going to come to that goal line. So I feel like we might be in the midst of a new champion, even if it is somebody like a transitional champion like Drew McIntyre to then Damian Priest.
With Priest, I think he's the real deal.
Yeah.
And I think there's no better fact than what you just mentioned, that we feel that Damian Priest is the closest one to that title. Yeah. Despite Finn Balor literally has been there, never lost the title technically. Like that just, and I'm not burying Finn in any way, shape, or form. Love Finn to death. What I'm saying is Damian Priest has done that good. In such a short amount of time, too. So Damian Priest's stock is absolutely rising. You strike when the iron is hot. Hopefully, the WWE has learned with Cody that you shouldn't be pushing off these payoffs. We've grown. We want to see the Judgment Day. I want to see the Judgment Day succeed. I think they're cool. But I want to see Damian Priest not only win because I think he's a good character. He seems like a good guy. Every time I see him on any social media, he's just smiling, having a good time, seems friendly. And he's friends with Bad Bunny, so that's pretty rad.
Bad Bunny's cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had an episode when we first started the podcast. I know everybody's probably heard me say this at least like 40,000 times already, but there's an episode that I had that says Dylan hates legends. And it's not that I hate the legends. I more or less hate the fact that they take the opportunities away. And I felt the same way with someone like Bad Bunny. But, Bunny proved me wrong. And he proved that there is people out there that do take this craft and this business that we hold very true to our hearts and near to our childhood, very close to home, and really put out everything that they can do. Even somebody like Logan Paul, who's 100%. Willing to go above and beyond and work and train. And, you might not like the guy. You might like his drink that he has, the prime drink and everything, but you might not like the guy himself, but his work ethic for this business is very true. It's very high. Insane. He's won me over and having like, oh, okay. Again, I'm not the biggest fan, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, well, I mean, at least he's having like a mediocre match type of thing. So it's not that big of a deal if he's at WrestleMania, I guess. but like, it matters still in a
Isn't
sense.
it wild?
Yeah.
Isn't it wild that how much you could hate Logan Paul? Like I did really dislike him. Like he just it seems bad, like a net negative for society. But then he wrestles, and you're like, oh, he's
Talented.
okay. He's good. Like
Yeah.
it is so funny.
You don't
Like
want to
how
say it.
yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I was with my friends. I was like, I think I like Logan Paul as a wrestler.
Right.
This is
right.
the first
you gotta
time.
always put that at the end of the sentence.
Right.
As a wrestler.
Right.
If you're like, oh, you like Logan Paul? Oh, do you really? Do you really?
Growing up with some of the wrestlers that we grew up with, you have to say that because the person outside of the blonde goatee and skullet is kind of a jerk.
A wild, wild man. Yeah. Hulkamania is not running wild anymore. He's just become a lunatic. It is something absolutely beyond far-fetched, but that's a whole different conversation for a whole different other episode that we definitely will get into one of these days. But nonetheless, it feels like we said, it feels like that time might be coming for Damian, and I hope it is something of this year. It would be really great to see. But if not, hopefully next year we do have Royal Rumble. Maybe he is the Royal Rumble winner. Maybe something in the Elimination Chamber. It could be something.
Puerto Rico again?
Maybe a match in Puerto Rico.
Well, no, for some reason I thought when they signed for the first Backlash, I thought they signed a deal with the Puerto Rican Arena Authority or whatever for like maybe a 2-year deal, maybe a 3-year deal. I could be completely wrong. Somebody fact check me. If you're not,
if you want to get on top of that, yeah, we're gonna. Sean's good. Sean's one of our guys that always is on every single one of these watch alongs and podcast episodes. So, Sean, if you're still hanging with us, please fact check us because you're our wrong guy. If we're wrong, we gotta let the people know because I don't want to be wrong. I don't mind being wrong. I've taken my L's over the time, but sometimes I don't like taking that many L's. So but nonetheless,
you're
right? Yeah, exactly. So. All right, well, let's get into something that maybe is a little bit of a touchy subject because, a few weeks ago, unfortunately, the wrestling world lost one of the most creative minds of all time, and that is none other than Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda. Unfortunately, if you have not known by now, it's been all over the place, but if you have not known till right now, Wyndham Rotunda unfortunately passed away due to a heart attack in his sleep. At his home about a month now, I think, back. And it's been very, very sad. The wrestling community lost a huge creative mind, an amazing talent, a superior mind to the business and the whole mechanical wheel of its movement forward. For sure. We lost someone very near and dear. And of course, the family of the Rotunda family lost one of their favorite members of all time, their own son and father. And it's been a very hard time for all of us who have to still deal with that unfortunate loss. But there is possibly some light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe. It all depends on how you want to take it. And it is the fact that Bo Dallas, the brother of Wyndham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt, who's been known to play Uncle Howdy since the return of Bray this past year, now might be stepping into the main creative role for the Wyatt 6 faction.
Yep.
Yes. Meaning we still might get the Wyatt 6 faction with the new head of the faction being Bo Dallas. Now, a lot of fans of Bray are happy to hear this. They're happy to hear that his legacy will continue on, of course, by somebody like a family member, a blood relative member, not someone that was a fan of Bray and just wanted to continue his journey on to being the Fiend and everything in between. It is now going to be Bo leading the way, while others, on the other hand, almost kind of just want this to be done. They kind of don't want this to happen. They feel like maybe this isn't the time and or place for something like this to take part in because of everything, how sensitive everyone is with the passing of Bray Wyatt. A lot of them feel like bringing this open wound back up again might be a little hard, as well as maybe the vision might not be as cut and clear as somebody like Bray would like it to be, with WWE having a lot of hands in that creative department. So I'm going to start with you, Mike. And of course, when you heard Bray's passing, how did it affect you? And what do you think of possibly seeing the Wyatt Six come back?
Sure. First of all the strength that I got in my entire body out to that family, out to the Rotundas. No one should have to bury their child, So first off, we're talking about the world of professional wrestling when this is where this art form blurs this line between this art form and life. Bray Wyatt, a character, helped a lot of people. I mean, you saw the outpourings on the internet. So many people talked about, hey, I was having a hard time figuring out my feelings. Yeah. And seeing this played out on TV is what helped me, something to that extent. I can't tell you how powerful that is. And that just goes to show how important of an art form wrestling is. It should be receiving grants. We should be doing this in the city center for everybody so we can all not be as crazy. But in regards to how if they're bringing back the Wyatt Six, I think when it comes to things of this nature, I think it always comes down to intent. What is your intent with this? And I understand this is professional wrestling. The intent, no matter how you want to cut it, in the end is to make money, sell tickets, put butts in seats, sell pay-per-views, t-shirts. That's it. And I understand that. But I also have to think of the intent. And I think we'll see the intent of how the way this is booked. If it is done carefully, considerately, I don't have a problem with it, because you look at what was set up. Bray Wyatt was bringing his brother basically back into the WWE to wrestle with him, to do a storyline with his brother. I cannot think of anything that I don't have a brother. I have a sister. We probably wouldn't be good tag team champions. She's just potatoes. Like, she's like Shane McMahon punches. It's horrible. Anyways, if they do it sincerely, I don't have a problem with it, because I think Bray, and this is me not knowing the man. This is me not knowing William Rotunda. I do not know him. I've never met him. I've never worked with him. But I would say that if he was going through the trouble of bringing his brother in, he wanted more than anything to wrestle with his family.
Right.
And I would say the legacy of Bray Wyatt and William Rotunda could be carried on and should be carried on, because this doesn't, it could feel like a cash grab. I could say right now, it's probably not a cash grab. I could be wrong in 6 months. But if there's one thing that Bray Wyatt or William Rotunda seemed to love, it was the professional wrestling business.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that, there's that old adage that you die twice, right? Once when your spirit physically leaves your body, or you die, heart stops beating. And the other one when somebody says your name for the last time. And I think the way you have the opportunity to turn the Wyatt Six into something that could last forever. Do I expect them to do everything perfectly? No. But could they do a really good job seeing what WWE's done in the last couple of months with things? I think so. And I think it would be almost the right thing to do. But I am open to people's otherwise, because I don't get to dictate your feelings. I don't get to dictate anybody's feelings. If you want to say this is bull crap and they shouldn't do it and this is besmirching the man's legacy, you say that, because that's your feelings and those are valid. But
right.
For me, I don't want it to happen because I want to see the characters, because I want to see the storyline.
Right.
I want to see it as this is this man's last gift. He helped create all these things. Put it out.
Yeah. It's a hard one, and I think no matter what side you want to fall on, whether it's for safety or just for selfish reasons and whatnot. It's a hard double-edged sword to fall onto on either side. It seems like a lot of fans of Bray would, of course, I think this would be a beautiful way to continue this man's legacy. Bo being that catalyst, that candle holder into the light of this unfortunate darkness, having that still burn bright for Bray even after everything's passed. Yeah, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be moments that we would definitely, and the beginning, it'd be hard for us to watch and or to swallow because it is tough. You know, this man lost his life. He unfortunately is not with us anymore. That creative genius of a man that he once was is gone. That beautiful light has burned out. And because of that, now we have to live with this deep sadness in the wrestling business and in the wrestling world. I mean, it didn't just affect us as fans, it affected the community. Like, if we go back to All In, when the House of Black came out, they paid that tribute to Bray by holding the, or, you know, the lantern
that
and
broke
the
me.
firefly light, and they all sang, you know, he still has the whole world in his hands. So, you know, as a fan of Bray, it is hard to watch something like that and not get emotional and not get upset like I kind of am right now. You know, and
Yeah.
it seems like, you know, it just it does it no matter no, you know, his father could come out, his mother could come out. It just doesn't seem like this maybe is that time. And I don't want to say that in that sense of like his time has come and passed. That's it. He's done. He's not with us. Let's just move to that next creative moment. Let's move on to that next creative scene. Let's give somebody else's mind a chance to thrive and burn a brand new candle into this dark void. It's not that. It's just how much of what Bo will give to that character's legacy will be enough for us to watch and say we're pleased. How much of that creative mind of Bo and what he could bring to the table will be enough to scratch that itch of missing Bray? How much of it will be that, oh, we have to remember Bray's not coming out during any of this, and we still have to watch it? Is it more of a almost a saddening moment now, and that's what becomes this thing when Bo comes out and the Firefly Funhouse gets reimagined and rebuilt and all of those characters come back out? Is it this over masking sadness, or is it this happiness feel? So, you know, it's hard. It's really hard to say, but for myself, I wouldn't want to see it. I don't know if it's just me being that sensitive person. You know, like, you know, let's take away from let's step out of wrestling for a minute. You know, no one can recopy Robin Williams. Nobody can recopy Richard Pryor. Nobody can copy Sam Kinison. Nobody can copy Rodney Dangerfield, Don Rickles, and, you know, all of those great legends that have come before us, past John Candy. Like, none of them can be, yeah, like Carlin, exactly. Like, there's so many great minds that have come and shine their candles so bright into so many dark voids, into so many people's hearts and minds, that have changed and lifted them up to somebody that they knew they thought they could never be, but then became that person. And because of these people have been able to do that by leaning on them. And I feel like now people might not be as lenient towards Bo as we were towards someone like Bray. And it just is that I feel like that's where that mismanagement could come into play. And now it feels like, is Bo just coming out here to make it sad every Friday? And it's like, okay, I don't want to be sad Fridays anymore. You know, like, I'd like to just come out here and enjoy this beautiful art that this is. But again, you know, you know, and no matter how I say it doesn't. It's not going to end well with nobody. It's not going to be a. It's not going to be a happy thing. So it's a hard one, and we'll see what happens. Honestly, you know.
I do want to say though, death is really hard for the living. I was at when Jay Briscoe passed, the next show was the one in Lexington. I live in Louisville, Kentucky. Lexington's a car ride away, maybe like an hour and 10 minutes away. We went to that show. Mark Briscoe wrestled on that show. He wrestled. That was the memorial show. And I can't. I'm sorry. I'm a little choked up. It's hard to explain the vibe and feeling in that place that night, in that arena, in Rupp Arena, of healing that was happening. We were all feeling it. We were all sad. And somehow, Mark going out there and performing and doing those things that those two brothers probably dreamed about doing their entire life.
Yeah.
Not only helped the fans, it helped Mark. And maybe this is the case where this is something that helps Bo Dallas process the loss of his brother. Right. I mean, it's absolutely heartbreaking to think that, you know, you and your best friend or brother have these wrestling plans that you guys are going to do, and you guys are going to live out your dreams. And he dies all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You're lost. You know, you're not just lost like without your brother. I mean, that's got to be absolutely unbearable. I can't imagine the pain that he's going through. But everything that you guys had planned, the future that you guys, you know, you have a nebulous future with people, but you guys actually had like a scripted future ready to go where you two were going to just tear it up and then just go around the US for like a year, hanging out, being buddies.
Yeah.
And that's gone. So I think if anyone's going to do it with taste, they're gonna have to, or Bo's gonna be there, and if anything's not above board, I don't think he's gonna just roll with the flow. And is Bo Dallas gonna be able to fill that void of that? I don't know, of Bray Wyatt? No, like you said, the legend's shoes, like, you know, they're not gonna be filled. But I think Bo is underrated in his character work. I think whatever's gonna come of it is going to be good. And God, that's just me being wishful and hoping for the best. Yeah. But there's a big risk reward here. You know, not reward isn't financially, but like to carry on somebody's legacy. But like also, you could just screw it up. Yeah, that's tough. What? That's a tough decision. I mean, yeah, and then you alienate your audience. I mean, Bray Wyatt had such an impact on people. Like, I was wearing a wrestling shirt at the gas station a couple of weeks ago, and or actually it was the week that Bray passed. And the guy behind the counter was like, "Dude, Bray Wyatt, man." And I'm like, I am trying to get a Monster Energy drink at 6 a.m. because I didn't sleep well. I don't want to cry at the counter. So let's not. Yeah. Anyways, long story short,
but no thank you. Like, you know.
But the guy, I was in there yesterday. I was in there today before the show. He got on the back of his hand tattooed. He got the Bray Wyatt, the moth symbol. Nice. He got it tattooed, man. Bray, despite how some people feel about him, he impacted a lot of people, dude.
Yeah. Sure. A buddy of mine just got the lantern of Bray on his arm because there's a symbolism to it. I'm going to let him explain the story because it's his story. It's not mine to say, but you know, it's definitely, it's hard. You know, I lost my dad in 2019, and we were going to go see a movie. We were going to see the Joker movie, the one with Joaquin Phoenix, and I still went to go and see it, even though, you know, he wasn't there. I felt like he was there. He wasn't there. And every year around, you know, we just not celebrated, but his anniversary of his passing just was the yesterday, or 2 days ago now. It's been They've been so blended together lately. It's been ridiculous.
I know.
A few days ago, it was his 4-year anniversary of his passing. And I watched the movie to remind myself like he's still there. And
Yeah.
to Bo, I feel like that is something he's trying to do, that healing process that you're talking about maybe it hasn't happened. And, losing a
Right.
brother, losing a child, losing a parent at an early age is impactful in itself. And it becomes this different mentality now that you have. And I've felt that after my father passed. Like, I felt different since then. It's this different go get him motivate. It's almost a motivation, it feels like, to some now, with in some aspect or another. But for Bo, maybe bringing back that character, that moment in time that was happening back to the forefront. Maybe it is him bringing Bray back for that 10 minutes, that 20-minute segment, that 15-minute match, that 2-minute promo. And maybe that's what it is. And maybe that could be something that's really beautiful every single week for us to watch, than something for us as fans to be like, I forgot Bray's gone. But now I'm reminded.
It's going to take us through that mourning period too. I know we're not anywhere near the family. No. But I don't want anyone out there thinking that we're like in that same boat with them.
Yeah, not even close.
Not even close. But still, the people who made a connection with him are going to go through that. And I think that that's going to heal. And I think a lot of people are going to be in, and not to do, I'm not doing the gimmick here, but there are going to be people who are going to be hurt by this. There are going to be people who are going to be very hurt by this before it heals them.
Yep.
Because, grief is a hell of a thing. And if anyone out there is going through grief, a loss of anything, please reach out, friends or family. Even reach out to me. Reach out to me on TikTok. You don't know me. I don't know you, but sometimes that's the right person to talk to. So if you're hurting out there, wrestling world, dude, it's human emotion. It's crazy.
We're human beings, man. Maybe some of us are aliens, but that's besides the point, And hey, man, they said it was real now, so I guess it's time now we can finally hang out with those jokes and stuff like that. But on a little bit of a lighter note and everything, now that we've kind of cried for a good 20 minutes and sobbed. But again, before we move on to this next topic and everything, again, my love and my prayers still continuously go to the Rotunda family, everybody affected, his children, his soon-to-be wife, that was happening, and everybody in between. Definitely a huge loss to the wrestling business, but a bigger loss to the Rotunda family. So may he lay restful in peace. May he have eternal happiness now and no more pain. And hopefully his family can find the strength to find tomorrow and move on, to continue on as best as they can. But enough before we start crying all over again here. We're all over the social media, so I can only imagine how many people are probably crying with us. Tomorrow. I was about to end the show. But no, we still got 3 more topics to talk about, buddy.
Yeah.
So,
You gotta bring it up. You gotta bring it up, man.
Yeah, now it's time to talk about AEW. Finally, the creme de la creme of the show. One of my favorite topics to talk about is finally upon us. And we have crazy fucking topics to talk about with this too, because we also have tag team champions that are brand new in AEW. We also have, of course, a new costing additional $10 for HBO Max, the pay-per-views, now that they're coming over to HBO Max. Additional $10 just to buy the pay-per-views. Before it was $50, now it's $10. Unbelievable. And of course, Edge is now all elite. I can't believe it. The rated R superstar is all elite. Plus, Christian's there. And Christian and him might be happening. Maybe, I don't know. Doesn't seem like that at the moment, but hopefully we can figure out a timeline where they can all hang out and do EC one more time. But of course, let's get into it, buddy. brand new AEW Tag Team Champions. This past Saturday was, of course, Collision, where none other than Big Bill and Ricky Absolute Starks are now our brand new AEW champions. And of course, the first thing Ricky says is FDR don't even have a chance in hell of getting a rematch. And now we have possibly the Bucks and Starks and Bill in a tag match at maybe Full Gear. Like,
Yeah.
What the hell's going on in AEW? So let's dive deep into it, Mike. We'll start with you, buddy. New tag team champions on WWE, new tag team champions on, of course, AEW. Like, what the hell is going on here? What do you have to say to all this?
You know, first of all, shock of the week, by the way.
Yeah.
Dude, this is one of those matches that you see on the rundown. You're like, yeah, I'll watch them do the Shatter Machine to Big Bill. That'll be sick. And then, like, that's the last thing I thought until the pinfall, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This is such a short match. First of all, before I go any further, shout out to Big Bill, dude. Getting clean, getting sober, looking good.
Looks great.
Good.
So proud of his recovery.
From where he was to where he is now, dude. Can't be happier for him. I like when people turn their lives around. That's good. Him and Ricky, I like Ricky with him, though. I like Ricky and Big Bill. Big Bill's the genuine heater. I heard he was unteachably tall. So I'm excited for him. First AEW title for Big Bill there. Not the first gold Ricky Starks has held, though. Former FTW champion there.
No.
But you know what? I don't hate it. This is another, just like the WWE switching tag teams or tag team titles recently, it raises more questions, not specifically about all the people in the match and or all the people moving forward. And it's like, what's going on with FTR? That seems weird because they were really serving us up. They said, would you like a nice pasta carbonara? It's going to be the Bucks versus FTR3. We'll serve it with a nice little bottle of red wine, little garlic bread. And then they gave me this weird ice cream sandwich with like airheads jammed into it. And I'm like, this is all right. This is fine. Like I'll eat it. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch the Bucks versus Big Bill and Ricky Starks, but I was really like ready for like a nice full 4-course meal. What about you?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We're having a little bit of technical problems over here on the Last Week of Wrestling pod. A little bit of internet delay, but no, I mean, yeah, it feels like a weird ice cream sandwich. It is. That is kind of a good way to put it. You know, as I look in my TikTok chat and everything, of course, shout out to the Gladiators, Chris and Josh. They're in there and they're talking about how, you know, they're not happy. They're not happy about Big Bill and of course Ricky Starks, as I believe Josh is calling them, or Chris is really calling them, Big Bill and the Little Pebble. You know, that's really the combination tag team that they got cooking over there on AEW. You know, look, clearly last Saturday was the beginning parts of this TV war between AEW and WWE. Last weekend was none other than Fastlane and Collision squaring off against one another. Of course, then leading into this past Tuesday's NXT versus AEW Title Tuesday TV showdown, metrics galore, whatever the hell you want to call it at this stage of the game. But Saturday happened, and before Fastlane happened, Collision started 7 p.m. Eastern time right here over on the East Coast. And it started off with the Big Bill and Ricky Starks match. And that is how we started off the night on Collision. We had brand new AEW tag team champions. And then about an hour later, of course, what happened on Fastlane? We had Jay Uso and Cody Rhodes become new WWE tag team champions. So
Simpsons did it.
So listen, I guarantee you, Nick Khan or Vince or somebody over there saw that pop and was like, "We need it over here," and they changed everything. I swear, I feel it. It is Chris. I knew it. It's definitely something happened, because that was a very interesting choice of words a decision, I should say, for WWE. But yeah, we get Big Bill, we get Ricky Starks as the new tag team champions, now versing the Young Bucks from their win over at Wrestle Dream. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about this, because as much as I like Ricky Starks and I like Big Bill and I think it's a decent combination, I don't know if the Bucks were the best choice to be their first opponents in this new tag team defense time. We have the Guns, you got the Lucha Bros, Orange Cassidy and Hook were a thing, but as we now know from Tuesday, Orange Cassidy is now two-time international champion. So that whole tag team thing is out of the picture now. But it just feels like Chris is saying in the chat, it's not tag teams. And that's kind of what we said in the beginning of the WWE portion of the show. It has to be tag teams. These tag teams are not tag teams. They're just thrown together people that make us want to be like, okay, cool, I guess.
And I'm never gonna be mad at tag team of big guy, little guy. Like, love the dynamic, always works, always a hoot.
Goliath type of thing.
Right, it always works. But I mean, Big Bill, he was Starks' heater for a little bit. But I understand but these guys don't have a tandem offense. Going in and beating arguably the best tag team that has existed in the last 5-10 years.
Right.
Depending on your style of tag team wrestling, what you like. FTR for me, pretty damn high on the books. So I know that they switched with the Orange. I know that Orange Cassidy, they put it on Orange Cassidy. They put the title on Orange Cassidy because I heard that Ray Phoenix had an injury. Is FTR so I'll get the tinfoil hat. I'm actually not going to make one. Cost of goods is too damn high. But so my conspiratorial mind goes to either one of FTR, either FTR hair or FTR bald is hurt, or FTR lock and FTR load. Maybe the gun charge is a problem now.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're right on both counts. So, we do know Cash Wheeler, unfortunately, was in a very serious incident about a month now back, where he was brandishing a gun in public during a road rage fight with another driver. There was no one that was hurt, thank God, and nobody got hurt during the whole incident, thank God. But, of course, due to that, in Florida, he was booked on charges. But as of now, the other thing that has happened is he has been dealing with a rib injury. So the mixture of injury and charges are kind of in tandem. And they are going side by side with the fact that, maybe this was that time, kind of like how we were talking about Drew and Seth, that time for now Cash to really take some time, heal, fix what's going on in his personal life, kind of get himself straight back on the narrow path and out of the crazy woods that he put himself in, and go back to just being really, really, really good tag team champions again, or just a tag team in general. Excuse me. And yeah, that's pretty much where we are at with all of that. But it still doesn't give us an answer that we'd want, because again, Big Bill and Ricky Starks was technically the manager of Big Bill. Let's take it back just for a brief second. Walk with me here as we go back a little bit, and we go with the fact that Ricky Starks beat the living piss out of the American Dragon, the legendary Steamboat Dragon, Ricky the Steamboat Dragon. And because of that, he was put on probation. He was not allowed to wrestle. He could only do managerial work. So he was like, okay, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to manage Big Bill. Big Bill was starting to have matches of its own. And then that kind of turned into the strap match that we all thought was going to be Ricky the Dragon Steamboat versus Ricky Starks, that turned into the American Dragon Daniel Bryan to Ricky Starks, which again, an amazing match that those two caliber men had over on Collision. But now after that, they kind of decided to forget that whole probation thing and give Starks the ability to start wrestling again, which then teamed him with Big Bill, the person that he was managing as his tag team partner. And because of that, now we've got the Mighty Pebble versus the Tiny Pebble versus whoever tag team wants to come against them now as a tag team champion. And it seems like, again, to what we've said prior, a thrown together tag team, a tag team that doesn't, they do come out together. They don't come out together with a cool entrance. They come out to Ricky's entrance. They don't come out to like a mixed entrance. It's just his entrance. It's still Ricky being the leader of this tag team that's been put together. So now that begs the question of now AEW from WWE. Does this start hurting the tag team division that they do have currently in AEW? Or do you think that this isn't really going to affect those things for the tag team division in AEW if you continuously throw together tag teams like Ricky Starks and Big Bill, Orange Cassidy and Hook, people that aren't really tag teams, that are not the Righteous, that are not FTR, that are not the Bucks, that are not the Guns, that are not the Lucha Bros. What are your thoughts?
And this is where the wrestling it's funny because when we talked about WWE, we said, oh yeah, it's not good for it. I don't think that Ricky Stark and Big Bill being title holders right now is really good for it. But on the other hand, I think we'd be remiss if we don't talk about one of the odd couple tag teams that's still around. It's the hottest thing on AEW. I'm talking about Adam Cole and MJF. We have two single stars in a tag team, literal ROH tag team champions. And I couldn't be happier to watch a pre-tape of Adam Cole cutting Roderick Strong's grass and watching MJF try to mafia whack Adam Cole on a boat and push him out into the ocean. It can work. And so that's why wrestling is so nuanced. It's so funny to me that right now, the Big Bill, AEW has bought enough goodwill with me for me to, and WWE has too recently, to where I'll, instead of immediately going, this is the dumbest decision I've ever seen, which you see a lot of people in wrestling journalism or wrestling content creation, the immediate reaction, this is crap. Well, let's see what they do with it. I'm with you. It could be crap. Give it 3 weeks. Let's see what the storyline goes. I'm very rarely the immediate reaction is that's not a good finish. And the last one that I thought that was Cody, and I was still on the fence. But I think they're just going to be transitional, unfortunately.
Right.
That's where I see this. I think they wanted to give us the Bucks FTR, but I think that they were like, dude, we just had Bucks FTR. We could just save this match for a pay-per-view 2 years from now, and the people will go rat. All you have to do is put those two names against each other. You're going to have a gate. You're going to have people tune in who want to watch tag team wrestling. So what's going on with AEW's tag division, though, get them off. Unless you want to start developing a tag team, I'll give them 3 weeks. I'll give Big Bill and Ricky Starks 3 weeks. I am going to name their team, though. I'm thinking you got Big Bill and Ricky Starks. I think we combine those names, maybe Billy Starks.
Oh no, I don't know. That might really start that might serve a lot of talk in the wrestling community. We have a very talented Billy Starks already. Now we have Big Bill and Ricky Starks and Billy Starks too. I don't know, man. That might be on your own boat. That might be your own boat. That might say.
Oh no. That's got to be different. Shout out to Billy Starks though. She's local over here. I used to shoot photos of deathmatch wrestling with her father back in the day.
Wow.
Cool guy. Shout out to Mouse Photography, something like that on Instagram. He's a cool dude. Got good pictures. But yeah, I think you give them just a little bit of time, and we see. I will not I'll not hit the big red crap button and just say this is crap. But I have taken the little plastic covering off the button. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, that's fair. From one tag team, though, that maybe doesn't really go together, we have a tag team that we've known for so long. So long. I know I'm jumping topics a little bit, but
Okay.
I'm going to save that HBO one for the end, kind of, because that's going to definitely be one to talk about for a little while. But let's go with a little fun one. Edge is now all elite. Adam Copeland is the rated R superstar, all elite wrestling now. We're so happy to see him back in the ring. It's been great. We've missed him. He had an amazing match with Sheamus. To be very frank with you, I thought the WWE did him dirty by not showing his retirement speech and everything on TV and cutting it at 10 o'clock. It's something that I thought we also, as fans, I understand it was in his hometown, in his country, and it was more for him than anything else. And maybe it's just a selfish fan of me saying it, but I remember him and Christian with Gangrel. I remember him and EC when they were doing the Dudley match with the Hardys and everything and the TLC. I remember it. So I've seen this man go from WCW to the WWF to the WWE and
to the Sci-Fi Network.
To the Sci-Fi Network, for Viking, we've seen this man grow and grow, have a beautiful family, a beautiful wife, and an amazing career that stretches far the eyes can see. But now he's back home to where it all started for him, which is that squared ring, and he's with his best friend, his brother-in-arms, Christian. Maybe. Christian is that father hater of the year. He's hating on the fathers. He's hitting on the mommies. He's talking really wild about the uncles. He's really out here trying to cause a lot of problems. He's getting me a lot of views, though, on my shorts. So shout out Christian for your shorts and everything. I appreciate you, buddy. But are we ever going to see EC tag team up one more time in AEW against people like the Hardys, who are also in AEW, Jeff and Matt? Is there a possibility that this could happen, or is this just going to be singles runs and we call it a day?
You know what? Before we get into that, I'd like to offer everyone with flash photography the 5-second pose. Dylan, if you join, we'll give everyone 5 seconds. Take your pictures. You're welcome, folks. Look, Edge and Christian getting together. You're talking about Christian being the dad hater. Never forget, though, that Edge is a mother.
Yeah,
because
he is.
So, dude, I'm saying I think they get together sooner rather than later. I think you pull the trigger on this. Yes, okay, great. We can have them feud. Let's have them feud when they're done. Because honestly, that's what it's going to be. And I don't need to see it right now. What I need to see is you to build your friendship back up. I need you to be bastard-coated bastards with bastard-flavored filling to everyone. I want you just to be evil because you're good at it. And
yes, you are.
I want that Edge and Christian run, come at I was at the show where I think it was here, either that or it's like a Mandela effect. So yo, buddy, hey. I want to see them come back out with overalls and a straw hat when they come into the South, and they're like, "Oh, we're from Kentucky." Do that campy, corny stuff. Still, I still think it would get over because not only is it nostalgia, but in this company in AEW, everything's done with a wink and a smile. We love MJF. He's a heel. One thing about MJF is he's still the same guy. He's not a baby face. He just made being a jerk okay with you. So that's how good MJF. He can make being a dirtbag. You're like, I like him. He's fine. He's cool. He's cool. He's like that dirty player. I don't know. Are you a Yankees fan? You guys have a bunch of them.
Yeah, yeah, very dirty sons of bitches over
Yeah.
here in New York.
Just for 100 years, just it. But you know what?
It started off with just beers and hot dogs, and it turned to fucking A-Rod and needles, and then God only knows what else to get over.
But you know what? It just like in sports is like wrestling and like real life. When that's your boy, though, he's on your team. Dude, yeah, it's cool. Same thing with Edge and Christian. I think Edge and Christian can be amazing together. Again, I got no doubt in my mind that that's where they're going because Edge, his opening promo, that this is kind of my breadcrumbs, is, he talked about his daughter.
Yeah.
I think it was Lyric. What do you think you should do? I think you should go have fun with Uncle Jay, which is, Christian's real name.
Right.
Well, yes, while fighting with your friends is fun. What's more fun is being in a tag team, getting to go do all the old stuff you used to do and have fun. And guess what? The Hardy Boys are going to be there.
Yeah.
If you have the Hardys there, and I know that Devon can't wrestle anymore, but Bubba Ray, he's still around. You get enough pieces of the Infinity Gauntlet together, the rest will fall in.
Yeah.
So, what's crazy to me is when they said the Rated R Superstar when he came in, I was like, that's a fine. Like you're getting a notice on that one for copyright. Nope. Right. Apparently they didn't copyright it.
No, they allowed him to take it with him.
Crazy. That's a good send-off, but
great send-off.
But not letting his speech be on the show, criminal.
Yeah, that was criminal. That was for all of us. I get it. It's your home country. It's your home state. This is where you started. That arena is where you got your first big break. So it makes sense. And I get that. I really do. I'm just that selfish son of a bitch that also wants to be there, that wanted to go to Canada to watch it live. Honestly, sure. I really did. And, as much as I love everything that you just said, I would love to see the two of them go back at it one more time against people like FTR, the Guns, the Bucks, Lucha Bros. I mean, having the Golden Lovers versus Edge and Christian would be a wild match in its own. People like MJF and Adam Cole versus Edge and Christian for ROH tag teams. And, you said it, he was talking to his daughter and he was just like, what do you think I should do? And she goes, you should go hang out with your best friend Jay. Go do it. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to do it. Go do it. And, when we heard from him from Wrestle Dream during that press conference, he goes, I've never felt so free ever than I have with AEW. And when he was explaining, yeah, it is, because he was explaining how, when he got to Seattle, it's really funny story, but he goes, I got to Seattle and it's like, all I wanted was like a cheeseburger. Like I was in my hotel for like 2 days, losing my mind. I was like, I just want to get like food. Like I want to go out one time just to get food. And he goes, a kid recognized me. I had my hat, my hood on and everything. So I looked up and I told the kid like, shh, quiet, don't say nothing and everything. So, the kid was like, okay. But he knew, he knew, like, oh my God, Edge is here. That means he's coming. And, he was just like, when I got to Seattle, I called Darby and I said, where can I shoot for a video for the thing? Like, where can I get a car? Where can I, because it was his state and Darby was the guy that knew everything. And he goes, I got a perfect alley. I got a perfect block for us to shoot on. And he goes, I never felt so free when I was hanging out of a dark tinted out van with a camera shooting downwards up for the car scene and Bubble Gum Alley where literally there's bubble gum all over the whole entire street and everything. And you're just stepping in it and driving in it. Because I never felt that free in my life to have that much control. And it's just like, I now can see so many great opportunities coming because of it. And he named people he wanted to work with. MJF, Kenny Omega, Danielson before he leaves, people like, Ricky Starks, maybe even Big Bill at a time. Again, He's fought Luchasaurus. Big Bill would be maybe somebody else. Samoa Joe, Wardlow even. There's so much more freedom. I mean, there's matches that we could probably have that we never even thought of, like him and Ibushi, him and Okada, him and Tanahashi. Like just in a Forbidden Door even. Just a match. No stipulation, no nothing. Let him fight somebody from Ring of Honor in a pure style wrestling match. No ring ropes. Just pure ring athleticism, real wrestling, how it used to be. 3 timeouts, the whole 9. And that's that. Like, to have him say that and go, the limits are endless, and I cannot wait for tomorrow, is so awesome to hear.
It's beautiful.
Because now there is so many possibilities that can happen that I hope happen. And I hope they happen soon.
Here's the thing. Like, I think, all the people talk about the dirt sheets and folks, I don't want to say dirt sheets, we'll just say wrestling reporters, right? They talk about the vibes or the feeling of backstage at AEW. Oh, toxic environment. I mean, if it was like, obviously, I guess not a problem for Christian, right? Because it's so good that you call your best friend up and like, look, I know you got a cushy gig over there.
But
this kind of rules at AEW. You need to like. There's no doubt in my mind that WWE, if they wanted to keep Edge, they'd keep Edge, or like they could have made it happen. It wasn't a funds issue. This is a creative control. I can do things a little differently. This is how I want to end my career, and it's nice to see an artist like that. And that's what these wrestlers are. I mean, we can say what we want. They're athletes. They're artists. They're all these things. But for an artist to just, the cuffs are off. I can go, imagine taking like a good artist and just be like, you can only use red as your color. Paint. Not exactly the best. Now you have a whole canvas of colors now. The other thing that really shows me about AEW is if the creative freedom aspect of it, I love. I love the fact that these wrestlers are like, I need a place to go to film this. It also tells me that AEW is kind of shooting like without permits and stuff like that, which that's the production side of me, like punk rock, like hell yeah, dude. Just shoot everything guerrilla style. Get in, get out. That's awesome.
Who cares? We'll worry about that shit later.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they can send us. Do you understand we're funded by a billionaire? They want to, here's like a $5,000 fine. Cool. Not a problem. The shot rule.
Not worried. Yeah.
But it's so fun. It's, in that story about the kid at the burger shop, that's a story that I don't know how old that person is, kid, how old, but that's a memory, man. That's a memory they're going to last forever. And that's just kind of something special about wrestling.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, I do too. I'm so excited for what's to come for him and his AEW career. I can't imagine the limits, or really the no limitations that he will have now, being able to work with not only AEW talent, but Ring of Honor talent. He now can go work indie shows. Like, he could go to Canada whenever he wants to and wrestle indie shows as much as he wants to without ever worrying about a fine, ever worrying about being in trouble, going back home. Like, Moxley's done it. A lot of them have done it. MJF has done it. Chris Statlander, like I was telling you before we went live, is coming tomorrow. Right here, back on Long Island. Like, Moose is coming here. Buck is coming here. And it's an amazing thing to have that freedom as an artist to go wherever the canvas is and paint whatever you want without any limitations and never any penalties. It's really refreshing because now you have these brand new ideas that will never be redone, but only reimagined and upgraded throughout time and known for its unlimited, untapped potential. And it's really beautiful. It really is. I'm so excited to see and hear what is to come from Edge and his new journey as the rated R superstar in AEW. And it's still crazy to call him that because, it's WWE thing, but no, it's not anymore. It is an AEW thing now. It's on t-shirts. It's there. He's everywhere. He can go where he wants. the limits are unfathomable now. It's just very, really, really, really great. But speaking of unlimited things, there are now limits to HBO Max now because, of course, AEW and Warner Brothers has been talking for a very long time of trying to merge the two together so that way fans like ourselves can watch the product, whether it is live on television the night of or the next day or whenever we have the opportunity, because all of our lives are very different. We all can't just sit home every day to watch wrestling, and if we could, we'd all be getting paid for it. Trust me, I would leave what I'm doing now to do this every single day if I could, but I cannot. So for now, I have to wait and see and do these podcasts when I have a chance to. But nonetheless, HBO and AEW are teaming up and are going to be bringing AEW Dynamite and Rampage and Collision to HBO Max, meaning all the shows that are on television will be available to you the next day right there for your viewing, plus the pay-per-views, which means there could be a backlog of old pay-per-views that have already aired. Now you can re-watch all of the pay-per-views that have come out since the dawn of AEW, all the way to the current modern pay-per-views that are happening just this year alone. But the ones that come out, though, will have an additional $10 cost per pay-per-view for the Bleacher Report version of the app and the site. So instead of paying $50, they're saving $40-ish roughly. You know, HBO is already $10 a month. So it's really about, $20 roughly you're saving in essence, because an additional $10 for the pay-per-views per pay-per-view, $10 for the actual streaming service itself. You know, it's about 20-something and change a month compared to $55 per pay-per-view and everything. So what are your thoughts on this whole new way of streaming, which is what everything's kind of migrating towards? And how do you feel about $10 additional for the pay-per-views alone just to watch them?
You know, I know that you found me on TikTok. I don't know if you see the girl math on TikTok.
Yes.
Look, girly, we can girl math this real easily. I mean, we're talking $50 a pay-per-view. Okay, that's fine. We're talking $50 pay-per-view through Bleacher Report. Bleacher Report's a horrible experience, terrible app. The sooner I can delete it off my phone, the better. That's worth $5 right there. But you're talking, let's say $15 a month for Max. Everything's going up. Everything's expensive. $10 on the pay-per-view. It's $50 normally. It's just say you're saving $25. That's just more pizza pockets in your pocket. That's simple math. I think it's great because anything that stops me from having to use the Bleacher Report, the TBS app, or the TNT app, because let's be honest, if you want to watch AEW right now, you have to have 3 separate apps to do so.
Mm-hmm.
That's
or
ridiculous.
cable. Or
cable.
Myself,
Right.
I pay for YouTube TV.
Okay.
So I'm paying now. It was originally $64.99 a month. Now it is $74.99 or $72.99 a month. Now, mind you, I only watch AEW. I used to watch Raw, SmackDown, and both AEW shows. Now I'm only down to AEW, which is twice a week. And then Law and Order when I'm video editing in the background, whatever is on.
Yeah.
So, in essence, I am not saving much now because I am adding now an extra $10 fee for just pay-per-views alone to watch these pay-per-views. Now, you know, the biggest thing. What's up?
Weren't you paying $50 though, even with YouTube TV?
Well, no, YouTube TV recently just started doing the pay-per-views. I too was paying through Bleacher Report as well, and I was paying the $50 as well.
Are they cheaper on YouTube TV? Do they do they do the pay-per-views on YouTube TV? Correct.
They did the last 2 on YouTube TV. They did Wrestle Dream on YouTube, and they did. I want to say All Out was YouTube as well. I could be wrong on All Out, but I know Wrestle Dream was on YouTube. It was available to buy on YouTube. Now, I don't know if it was like $30. I don't know if it was more. I don't know if it was the same. I have no idea. I didn't buy it through YouTube. I bought it through Bleacher Report because I have an Xbox, which is how I was streaming it prior. But now that I have a PC and everything, and I have YouTube TV and a smart TV, now I can kind of just Google Cast it and do all that fun electronic future shit on the sites and whatnot now. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saving anything. I'm still losing. I'm still losing about $80 a month, roughly, per pay-per-view. And if they switch to every month a pay-per-view, that is an additional $10 per month per YouTube TV. So I'm spending probably more doing it that way as well. Maybe roughly saving $20 here and there. So maybe every 3 pay-per-views is a free pay-per-view in essence, but in actuality, no. I'm not saving a dime. I'm not even selling. I ain't even saving 10 cents from all of this.
So I understand this is coming at a financial burden for you. And this is no longer Michael from Suplex Media. This is Michael with AEW Sales. What if I was to sell you on the idea, though? Not only would they have their shows on there that you could watch next day and your pay-per-views for just a mere $10 a month, almost about what the WWE Network costs. But what if I was to throw in the entire ROH library? Would that be something you're interested in?
See, now that sweetens the pot because now you're giving fans of the product AEW, fans of the show, you're giving them a place to watch the show whenever they want, any time of the week they want. Plus, you're giving them Ring of Honor as well.
Sure.
Now, I'm not sure if Ring of Honor is a part of this deal. And from what I've read, there isn't. But it could have changed. It could be now. Ring of Honor is a part of it. But let's play the hypothetical game here. Let's say for $10 a month, you get the pay-per-views. You pay the extra $10 for the subscription of HBO Max, and those are on the base payment alone, and that also comes with ROH. Okay, $10 a month. I get Dynamite, I get Rampage, and I get Collision, and I get Ring of Honor. Not bad. So now an extra $10 a month gives me the pay-per-views for AEW. That's cool. But now, is that $10 a month also go to the pay-per-views for Ring of Honor? Because if they also do it for the Ring of Honor ones for the same price, then is it worth the $10?
I'd say go. Yeah, no, I don't want to pay. Nothing against Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor has put out some of the best talent in professional wrestling. Having said that, I have never paid to watch Ring of Honor. I probably will not ever pay to watch Ring of Honor. And I hate saying that because I want to support wrestling, but I won't pay to watch Ring of Honor. It's not my style. It is a good style of wrestling. It's not particularly the style that I'm into. It's like AEW still has some storylines, but ROH just straight up like wrestling. Like, you want to watch just wrestling? They got you. It's good stuff. You're gonna love it. But like pure rules match, okay, I get it. It's a different format, but if it's just not for me. There's some things that aren't for people, and that's okay. But if they threw in the ROH pay-per-views, I'm gonna go and throw those on in the background and watch Loki versus Christopher Daniels from like a decade and a half ago, and throw that on because I've never seen it and I want to watch it. I don't want to watch like the programming all the time. I'm not gonna sit there and binge watch ROH, but like, dude, hell yeah, I would throw on like, or like we could just look back before CM Punk was bad, or was he always bad? Who knows? The devil existing something or another, but like go through and watch like the summer of Punk. That would be fun. Go watch old Samoa Joe. I would have a great time with that. But I don't think you can charge for the ROH pay-per-views. But I also want to say, though, this is wrestling, and that's what this podcast is about, you can't discount the fact of all the other things you're going to be getting with HBO Max, or Max as it is now. I mean, you still get access to the HBO library, which does include like Peacemaker if you want to get your John Cena fix. Good show, by the way, if you haven't seen it. It's real fun. But I think that $20 a month is not going to be a hard sell for a lot of people if you want to watch a pay-per-view. I think that that's going to help a lot because the Bleacher Report we watch at my buddy Steven's house. Shout out Steven. Hope you're doing well, buddy. There's no Bleacher Report app on his Samsung Smart Television.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why, but so we have to use a Roku, and so like HBO, the Max app is going to be on everyone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's honestly like, hey, you take more shots, you make more goals. So if you have more out there, and then you have the whole weight of Discovery Warner Brothers, you're opening, or you first click into the Max app, and then there's like sometimes they play an ad for freaking Dynamite, man. Okay, or the whatever Game of Thrones prequel. I get it, that's important to some people, but like, just give me like here's a question for you, Dylan. I don't want to monopolize too much of the time on this, but
you're good. We got plenty.
So if you're Warner Brothers Discovery, you're Dylan, you're head of creative marketing for Max, and you've been tasked with putting two wrestlers onto the front page of Max. What two wrestlers from AEW are you putting up there to draw eyes to the product?
MJF and Daniel Bryan.
Do you think that MJF and Daniel Bryan speak to the casual person who's probably going to log on to this and watch reruns of The Office or whatever? Do you think that?
But if you had a template that rotated 4 men, 4 women, 2 you don't know, 2 you do, 2 you don't know, 2 you do. Yep. I feel like as a casual person who's heard the name Saraya or Paige prior, knows what she looks like, will recognize her again, and maybe want to click onto it. Someone like Ruby Soho, click onto it. Maybe people that don't know who Billy Starks is or Willow, but are interested in the name, might want to click onto it. People that do know the name will click on because they know who that is. Someone like MJF that people do know as a regular fan, and as Daniel Bryan that people don't know really, or maybe the casual fan maybe knows because of his time in WWE will know. Christian and Edge would be 2 people I'd put on there. Matt and Jeff Hardy, I would put on there. Sting, I put on there.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Like you put on that new Band-Aid, the old Band-Aid. And you have that equal balance of fresh faces that people are like, who the hell is this guy in the scarf? And why is he next to Daniel Bryan right now? Like, who the fuck is this guy? And then you go on to Dynamite, and that starts off with like MJF, cutting a promo on Daniel Bryan from Revolution this past year.
Sure.
From the birdie promo or whatnot. You kind of, in my eyes, you have to, for somebody that would be in that realm, in that moment, you have to realize that your demographic is so widespread with this community because there are so many more newcomers than old returning fans at times, that the people that are new, who maybe were WWE fans that recently became AEW fans because now Ruby Soho's over there, or Samoa Joe is over there, or Edge is over there now, Christian is over there now, Daniel Bryan is over there now, Adam Cole, Jericho are over there now. These are names that people have known, people that listen to music know as Fozzy. Whoa, what the hell? I didn't know Fozzy was a wrestler. Oh my God. Now, you know what I mean? Like, now you have that, like, person that was in the music is about to watch, Game of Thrones again on repeat, doing homework, and all of a sudden he sees Jericho on his screen, and he's like, did Fozzy have a live show or something? And then they click onto it, and it's Jericho coming out to Judas, and now he's hooked because he just watched Jericho and Sammy Guevara, or he just watched Jericho versus someone like Kenny Omega or something like that that recently has happened as a trailer that's playing for Dynamite or for Collision or something that might be coming up like a pay-per-view even, kind of building into that. Hey, you might want to pay that extra 10 because these guys that are going to be in this show coming up in 2 weeks. And that's how I would kind of put it into a lot of people's faces as this, like, give them the new fresh faces that you want to push, the people that are moving your product, of course. But those not throwaways, but those throwaways in the sense of, someone's going to recognize this person. Someone in a demographic of a 50-year-old, a 60-year-old who are fans of wrestling knows who the fuck Sting is. They've seen him with the gold hair and the surfer style. They've seen him in the all black and white. They've seen him in WCW. They've seen him in the Wolfpack. They've seen him in all these moments. They know who the hell Sting is. They're going to be like, Sting still wrestling? What the fuck? And then they turn in, and now they got fans of new people like MJF, Samoa Joe, Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin even. They're going to see Sting and Darby together and go, oh, wow, that's like a mini version of Sting, but this guy's a psychopath. He's just throwing his body all over the place. Wow, that reminds me of Jeff Hardy. Holy shit, Jeff Hardy still wrestling? Oh, my God. I remember when he was still in the 97 and all of this stuff, when he was one of the little court gestures in the King in the Ring match in the front of the entrance. Like, that type of nostalgia moment brings a lot of those old fans then back and possible new returning fans of the product. And if, a pay-per-view is coming up and they see these recognizable faces or new people that now they're turning into fans of, now they're like, okay, you know what? $10, it's $20 a month now. And I get the pay-per-views. And if I don't like the pay-per-view that's coming up, I could just cancel it. Okay, that's fine. At least I get to watch the shows all the way building up, because if the show builds up, my hype for the next pay-per-view, which will be, let's say, Full Gear or Revolution or whatnot, well, now I'm watching it. Now I know what I'm doing Sunday night, October 28th or whatever, and that's kind of how I would have put that in there.
Yeah. And I think if they, what was that?
What about yourself? How would you do?
Well, I think you got the players right there. I think you got Sting. I think Sting's cool. Sting looks good. People know Sting. That's fine. But one of the names that I want to throw into, because I think you were all over the head of that nail there. But just one more to strike it flush for me would be Julia Hart.
Yeah.
Julia Hart. I know she's been getting a lot of buzz lately, but she looks cool. That hat that she wears, there's a woman on TikTok who I follow who makes those hats. Dude, they're so sick. Shout out to that lady. Forget her name. She's awesome.
Yeah, you got to send me that link because I might buy one. I might buy one for my boy.
I don't know if they're like hat buying prices. I think they're like art buying prices. Because she looks so cool. Her freaking theme is rad as well. So big Julia Hart, to the moon on her. But what I do if I'm AEW is I know that with Max brings new viewers. And that's the reason that we're going there. It is a unclaimed frontier right now. There is zero wrestling on there. You're the only one. So not only do I do something where I'm bringing up like, this is Sting, this is Julia Hart. Look at them. They're interesting. Tune in. I'm also putting 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos, 4-minute videos with them that says like, Sting still, like, not just some to the extent of like, not specifically this, but Sting still wrestling. This is what he's been doing for like the last 2 years.
Right. Highlights.
Show highlights, show storylines. Like, who is this guy with a smug face and a Burberry title belt? What the hell's that about?
Hey man, don't talk
This
about
is
my
MJF. Yeah. But I think they could do that, and you bring more people in, because one thing I think that is bad about the professional wrestling business, the fans, all the way through, is accessibility into it. There's such this environment that wrestling, I don't know what it breeds about it, but it's the same thing when I was in the musical theater. When I was in musical theater in high school, it's the same thing. Like, oh, you don't know X, Y, and Z. Like, we just put such a value on like, oh, if you haven't been watching for like years, you don't know anything. Like, no, people can come in, a new observer. I want the most amount of people. I want the most diverse amount of people from all walks of life, all forms of entertainment talking about pro wrestling, because it's going to keep getting better. The more it's just, so if you're out there tonight and you're around somebody who says, and that's the point kind of like with my YouTube channel, I want to educate and help people make wrestling an easier thing to digest, easier for people to get into, because I don't want to I don't want to teach people because I know better. I want to experience and re-experience with you the first time. Right. And that's what I think is so special about wrestling, is when you get somebody into wrestling, oh, you're like, I have so many things to show you. Many things.
Yeah. But no, it's this overwhelming happiness of bliss. And you're like, oh wow, I can't wait for you to watch these matches that I gotta show you, because between the matches and the promos that build up to these matches, it's unbelievable. And I can't wait for that moment for you to happen.
It's weekly live theater in the round in front of a live studio audience every week. And it's the closest thing that most people get to viewing the theater on television too. I mean, wrestling's just magical. It's special. And if you make more wrestling friends, if you want to be my wrestling friend, you can just reach out to me. I'll chat wrestling with anybody. I love it, dude. It's the best thing on the planet. It rules.
I know. I do too. I love it. That's why I do this podcast. It's just,
hell yeah.
It's so nice. It's so cool to just meet other like-minded people that just share the same love that you have for the business, whether it's all the dirt sheets, the reports, all the drama that circulates around it, all the memories that they can have. It don't matter. It's just so much fun that, I could sit here all day and talk about it. Like I said, if I could make this into a business, I 100% would leave what I'm doing and start immediately. I wouldn't even look back. I wouldn't at all. I really wouldn't. It's just so much fun. It's
you and me are going to talk after this.
Yeah, it's so much fun. It really is. But definitely, please, you're gonna have to stay after the show, because I like to talk to everybody after the show and everything to get everyone's vibe. But
we're not getting a 10-minute overrun from TBS on this, guys. This is going to cost us.
Yeah. No. This actually costs a lot more money than you think. Nonetheless, though, let's get into the fun question of the night, because, of course, without doing these fun questions, it's a boring podcast, because we like to have fun over here on the Last Week of Wrestling podcast. You guys know the watch-alongs. Your boy gets wild. We've dressed up. I tell you right now, Mike, we've dressed up for watch-alongs. One of my favorite watch-alongs we have done has to be for Double or Nothing, where I had a slew of awesome content creators from all walks of life. Come on, we all dressed up as certain characters. My best friend Sam, shout out Sam. He dressed up as Tony Khan. He dressed up as Tony Schiavone, and he introduced everybody in as their wrestling name. We had Christian, we had Moxley, we had Ricky Starks. I dressed up, of course, as MJF. We had the AEW Championship. I did the whole entrance and everything. If you haven't watched it, you gotta go back and watch it, because it was so much fun. It's a big thing we do here. We love dressing up for a lot of these big moments. We love making our shows very fun and very interesting. So we have to finish the show off with a fun question.
Hell yeah.
Survivor Series is coming. Full Gear is coming. It is weeks and weeks and weeks away, but I know people are already talking about it. One of the biggest things that did pop today on social media is we are getting War Games. So instead of booking the whole entire Survivor Series card, let us talk about what is or who is your War Games for this year. Who do you have on the left? Who do you have on the right side of the ring for War Games for Survivor Series? Of course, everybody on TikTok, join along. Pick your people as well. Pick your poison, I should say. Same with the chat. and everything. Pick your poison. Who do you guys have? Who do you see possibly being in the War Games this year for Survivor Series? I already know my choices because it seems like that's where it's heading, and I'm not a fan, but I feel like it might be. It really might be this way. But Mike, you are my guest, so I want you to go first. Who do you have in War Games this year, man?
All right. So one side, and I think that you and I might be having a match here. I think one of the sides is Judgment Day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, Finn, Damian Priest, JD McDonough, I know he's like an initiate, but him and Dom, everybody's in. You know what? JD, this is how we do it. JD, you're going to be the first one in, and it's like getting jumped into a gang, right? You know, like you got to go in there. But, you know, he'll be a heel, so he'll have the advantage at all times because the War Games match, the heels always have the advantage.
Correct.
That's just easy storytelling. But on the other side, obviously, we got Cody, we got Jay. That's fine. You guys. Now, the rest of the team kind of feels like a Survivor Series of old. Like usually it'd just be like, oh, you got Team Rhodes, and then you would just have like one of his buddies and like two random other baby faces.
Right.
So we're looking at who's hot right now. I would say Seth, but I want Seth to go chill out for a bit. So Seth, you're on vacation. You've been murdered by Finn Balor from the Saudi booking that I did earlier. Let's see. You would do who? I'm trying to think who do you need to elevate right now? Who is just on the cusp that a real big performance could do it for them? I mean, I personally would love Chad Gable.
Ooh.
I think Chad Gable in anything it's just like throwing some like salt and pepper in there. It's like, oh, it's just a little tastes so good now. You know, it'll season up a bland match. Not saying that match would be bland. But my last partner for Team Rhodes, it's a mystery. And we don't know because he's not in the typical shark cage. Despite all rumors pointing to the contrary, the fourth member of Team Rhodes is none other than Company Man Punk. CM Punk is making his WWE debut. Damn. Look, I know they told you
we were friends. You know what I mean?
We are. And this is...
I know we were friends until this match, man.
I don't want him back.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't. But this is how I bring him back. And there's no one in the professional wrestling world who has killed as much goodwill as fast as CM Punk has ever done.
Correct.
That is going to be a hard legacy to break. The only way I see it is you bring him back, he wrestles that match, Team Cody wins, blah, blah, blah. But then the next night on Raw, he comes out and he cuts his promo and kind of tells everybody why he's here. You know, hey, I'm sure you've read. I've kind of been a jerk. I've been an idiot. Done a lot of dumb things recently.
Right.
And it's come to my attention that some of the smartest moves I've ever done was in the WWE, and I've come home. But I've not only come home, I've come to reclaim the only man who's been able to help me navigate this minefield of professional wrestling. I've been really dumb, and it's time for me to get a wise man on my team. And you send CM Punk to go liberate Paul Heyman from the bloodline, baby.
My God. I'm just gonna end the show. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's it for all of us here. I think that's it. I ain't gonna say nothing more. Nah, you know, it's not that it's a bad idea. I will not ever say it's a bad. I will say if something's a bad idea, I will say it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad idea. My theory was that I wanted Heyman with Jade Cargill, but I'll explain why about that in a second before we end. Yeah, I've been saying this damn thing for a while, but we'll see how it plays out. But my War Games goes exactly as Sean said it. Judgment Day versus Sammy, Jay, Rhodes, and Kevin. But except with Judgment Day, it's only Finn and Damian. The other two are Jimmy and Solo Sikoa. So
I
it's
could see that.
Damian, Finn, Solo, Jimmy versus Jay, Cody, Sammy, Kevin. Sammy, Kevin have feud with Solo and with Jimmy and with Judgment Day. Rhodes has beef with all of them. Jay has beef with now all of them. So it makes the perfect peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
But you're looking at like a New
I'm
York
thinking of it
like
logically.
interchange of like storylines going on.
I'm thinking of it logically because my theory is that Cody will lose to the Bloodline being the ones to eliminate him, which then makes Cody's hatred for the Bloodline reemerge, and his "I need to finish the story" comes back. We go Rumble. Cody loses, doesn't get the opportunity. It's either Jimmy or Solo that eliminates him, but he wins his opportunity at Elimination Chamber. Then we go into WrestleMania 40 with Roman and Cody. And now Cody can finish the story, which is his way of going to SmackDown officially. So him going to SmackDown isn't happening till next year. Because now with Jay and Cody being tag team champions, 5-ish weeks away from Survivor Series, 6-ish weeks away from Survivor Series because it's Thanksgiving weekend, we have War Games where Jay and Cody will still be friends, maybe not tag team champion friends, but we'll be friends still, and we'll want to seek revenge for everything that the Bloodline and the Judgment Day have done to all 4 of those guys on the opposite side. But Cody loses and wants to seek his revenge again by winning the Rumble, because now he wants to go to SmackDown to prove that he can do it. But he loses at the Rumble. So we're back into this losing streak of Cody Rhodes again, which is something we've already started to see, but then he started winning, and then he started losing, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. We get the Hard Times promo we've been waiting for that started but didn't really start, then ended and started and ended. Now we get it really at Survivor Series. And then going into the Elimination Chamber is when he starts picking up the big W's to the road to WrestleMania, to where he finally finishes the story. Because I tell you now, if by WrestleMania 40, Cody has another opportunity and loses, I don't ever want to hear him say, I'm finishing the story. Because no, you're not. You can't even finish a Dr. Seuss book. How the fuck are you going to finish beating Roman Reigns? He's not even wrestling 360 days out of the year. Why the hell are you going to beat him now? So my thought is that it's going to be this, because it makes the most sense. It's seemingly been the same carbon copy paste thing each and every week, every single Monday. We see any sets of these guys all align. We always see Solo and Jimmy. It just seems like this might be that inning we've been waiting for to happen, to then finally get to the closing ceremony of this long-ass ball game. And finally we get our reward, which is Cody winning. But to be honest with you, this is the question I want to ask you.
Okay.
If it does happen, Cody finally wins, Are we still excited for it? Or is it already too late?
Yes, we're excited for it, but I'm going to. We're not getting it. We're not getting it at Mania because there's one person with one name, 7 letters standing in the way of this storybook finishing, and that's The Rock. You forgot about it, didn't you?
I try every day to forget about him, to be honest with you. I
The
love
Rock-
The Rock, but I just don't like him at Roman at Mania, man.
Look, The Rock went onto the Pat McAfee show. Shout out Pat McAfee. When I was director of OVW, he was trying to be a professional wrestler at that time before he got re-signed to the Colts. I got a funny Pat McAfee story I'll tell you later off air. But The Rock went on to like an ESPN talk show, is what Pat McAfee's show is.
Yep.
And he went there and he talked about what the plans were for a previous
39.
WrestleMania.
Yep.
The Rock isn't in the business of telling stories unless it probably benefits The Rock, especially if you're on ESPN, College Game Day, big show. How does The Rock factor in to what you want to do with Cody? Because I don't think The Rock is coming back to not win the championship.
I mean, it wouldn't be his first loss against someone with a championship, but
See?
I got no, because I'm trying to word this correctly before all the jabronis out there start blowing my inbox up with
The millions
and
millions of jabronis.
Yeah. Is that okay? So I'll put it to you this way, and everybody listening out there, bear with me here because this might be a little bit of a rant. But when John Cena came back for WrestleMania 39 to face Austin Theory for the United States Championship, in my eyes, it didn't make any sense because if Cena were to win, most likely what we were going to get is that open challenge for him then to lose it that next Friday or Monday, and then go back to doing Hollywood and everything else that he's doing that is hand over fist making him more money than the WWE has done for him, though the WWE has done a lot of things for him, like put him in that position to now be Peacemaker, a mermaid in the Barbie movie, all these great things with Fast and Furious and everything else. The Rock coming back to win the title against Roman and ending Roman's streak to prove that The Rock is still the head of the table, in my eyes, feels the same way like Theory and Cena. There's no point for Rock to come back to lose it the next night and or the week after to somebody else that we would rather see have the championship and lose the opportunity to somebody else that deserves a spot at WrestleMania against someone like Roman Reigns. So to me, yes, of course. If The Rock comes back, great, cool. We'll throw up the hand. We'll, scream out the millions and just bring it and all of this other stuff. But I don't care for it as much as I would for somebody like Cody. Now, I don't think it's still a win for us if Cody wins. I feel like it has been so overdrawn and so overhyped that now if he were to win, we all will be saying, why did it take a year? Why did we have to stray off the path to have him win tag team gold instead of the gold that he was supposed to win from his return back at WrestleMania 38? What was the point for all of this side quests to the main story if the main story's ending is what we wanted to do the whole entire time?
Right.
So,
I think that is a thing that if they do that, that's WWE saying, whoops, we messed up last year.
And I think that that's the problem. I think that that's the issue that we have as creative in the WWE. They knew they had something, but by taking it away from us, to then a momentary build with Cody and Brock that gave us more great memes that still last to this day than the matches itself in its length.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's a good idea now after a year has gone by for Cody to win. It seems like now would be the time to move past Cody Rhodes and let somebody else take charge. Somebody like Damian Priest, maybe someone like an LA Knight, Chad Gable. There's a lot of other men in the men's division that either have been getting very good looks or have been getting the Sonya Deville effect, as I've been calling it, the carrot in front of the face, but never really actually grabbing the carrot to whet the opportunity. You know, Sonya has been given countless opportunities to become women's champion prior to her injury, prior to her becoming a tag team champion at one point with Chelsea Green. But at the time that it was supposed to happen, they kind of took that hope away from her and gave it to somebody else, or just had the other person retain it, when her gimmick of her being this boss-like figure in the WWE and having that gold around her waist would have worked out so beautifully that it would have enhanced that women's division to a new level that would have been on the back of someone like Sonya Deville. But now they still are doing it now with Cody, and it seems like Cody kind of screwed himself by coming back to the WWE.
Right. Well, I think it's unfortunately always going to feel that way. And I don't want to, and I know the internet wrestling community is very guilty of this. I'm guilty of it too. Sometimes we want the things when we want them, and we'll be complaining, and we'll what was it? Triple H said, if we don't get what we want, me and my friend Mark are going to complain on Twitter. We do that.
We do.
But also sometimes there is a narratively satisfying conclusion that can happen, and it can only happen at one time of the year. And to point out what Sean said at the bottom here, the Rock and Roman things, is kind of what I'm touching on here. Cody lost at WrestleMania. Yeah. He has to win at WrestleMania. Like, unfortunately, I don't, not to belittle any of the other pay-per-views or the hard work that the men and women put on in front of the curtain and behind the curtain. It is not WrestleMania. Yeah. It means so much more, and that's a good thing. That's good to speak about WrestleMania because it means a lot. But if Rock and Roman aren't wrestling for the titles at Mania, probably Cody's wrestling at Mania. But I don't, unless I know the writer strike ended. I think the actor strike's still going on. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But like, I don't think The Rock is signed. I don't think The Rock has committed a year of his life and shaken hands and put pen to paper and said like, I'm here for the next year. Right. So like, what happens if Warner Brothers is like, you know what? We changed our mind. Black Adam ruled. Here's $150 million. Go make a second one. The Rock is going to leave. Unfortunately.
Cena said the same thing.
Right. Yeah. So be thankful for while we have them, because the amount of matches that The Rock and John Cena are going to have rest in their life, probably a handful. Unfortunately, not saying like either one of them are going to die, but they just have other stuff they're doing. But Cody Rhodes does not win at WrestleMania, and he wins at like Survivor Series or like Elimination Chamber. Ew, gross. I don't like that at all. Right. They had their opportunity. They didn't pull the trigger, and it's like I said earlier, I won't hit the big red crap button right off the bat, but the Cody one was jarring, to say the least. That he did not win. That took me a minute. Like, that kind of feels like they were kind of gaming the betting system. Conspiracy theory. They switched it at the last minute because they could get better odds and make a bunch of money. Insider trading. That's not real. Anyways,
Or it
Maybe
is. And we just we unleashed a whole wormhole of nonsense. But yes, no, you're 100% right.
But no, he's got it. It's got to happen. Cody's got to win. It like they just messed up, and I've been there. I've been there not only just in wrestling, like with booking wrestling stuff, but just in life. And I think that that's something we all need to remember when we watch professional wrestling. This is booked by human beings trying to put on the best show that they think is possible. No one in AEW, no one in WWE, maybe NWA. I don't know what Billy Corgan's up to. He's a weirdo, but no one's booking matches for you to hate the product. They might book things to make you feel a certain way, but at the end of the day, we want to give the fans their service. We want to give fan service and say, look, you stood beside us and watched all this stuff. Here's the thing you wanted. You know, but Cody's got to, it's not going to mean as much. It'll still be happy for him, but like, you're never going to reach the peak, and you had the peak at WrestleMania last year.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest draw for myself, because it's like I'm such a fan of stories. You know, I'm a big fan of gaming that has great plots and great stories, and same with movies and stuff. You have to draw me in, like all the action and all the stuff that circulates around the plot and the nucleus of what the whole thing is about is great. And it definitely plays a major part into building that nucleus up to the point where there is like, oh my God, like you need to see this, you need to watch this. But if the nucleus fades, if the nucleus falls apart, if it explodes in itself and it dissipates at a price where we're not getting that build anymore, that thought or concept of building somebody and bringing that old nostalgic feel of that, you know, Hard Times promo kind of only dips its toe in, but realizes the water's way too cold. I don't think it's time yet, and keeps toying with us. You don't want to watch it anymore. You know, you become this fan of watching something that can potentially be great. And I thought that that's what was going to happen. If they were going to build the Hard Times promo of the modern era, of where Cody is going to go on an immense and an unfathomable loss streak record of shameless wins against people like Dominic Mysterio and lose to somebody like him. It's like you are now building WrestleMania 40 5 months in advance, ready to now pull the trigger at a moment staple of one of the last pay-per-views of the year, which would be something like Survivor Series, where now if he were to win something like War Games and now start traveling into that win column, people might be like, well, you know what? If he doesn't win at Rumble, but he at least wins an Elimination Chamber, there's this hope now for Cody. There's this hope now that Cody can actually do it this time. Like, I mean, he lost to people like Dominic Mysterio, Akira Tozawa, for Christ's sake. Like, you know, the worst next would be losing to Nia Jax. You know, it's just like there's this momentum now that builds behind the superstar, and the fans of the superstar after that glimmer of hope was just, you know, unfathomably taken away so quickly at one of the grandest stages of them all. But now we built around for months. It's now that feel again of it could happen now. This time doesn't feel like last time. This time now feels like he has it. And I feel like where they have gone with that direction is so all over the place that now, if we do get it at WrestleMania 40, it doesn't hit anymore. It doesn't sit with us as the fans anymore. It feels now as we're just there. We're just watching. We're watching something that should have happened at 39. We're watching something that should have happened at WrestleMania 38 even. We're watching something that should have happened months ago at the second time that he challenged Roman Reigns for. It's this timelessness of just empathy you feel now for the character because he's been through this nonsensical journey of abandonment and now we're at this crossroads, not to be funny or anything, but
Nice.
we're at this crossroads where it's if he wins, it's for how long? Who does he lose it to now? And if he doesn't win, don't ever let him go upon this journey again. Because three times, and you got me out of the business. Like,
I don't care. And it's not like a sense of like, it's not like the Chicago Cubs, to tie it back to baseball, like 100-year curse, and everyone's just like, just win it. Like, this Cody situation is like showing up in a jock strap the next day. It's too little, too late, babe. It's imagine just like from the perspective of working in production, I can't imagine sitting there watching the pop that he receives for his entrance at WrestleMania when he wrestled Seth. Was that 38, I believe?
38.
His first night there. And not immediately going in your little book, in your booking book, and just flip 365 days in advance. Just next year's WrestleMania. Cody wins, LOL. Close it, done. We're here. And that's what should have happened. But we didn't get that. And if you're angry about that, if you feel like WWE did a bad job, you're welcome to feel that way. I'm kind of with you. But I don't want to be able to say like the bloodline has kind of jumped the shark for me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with what they're doing. They're trying different things, and I understand. And they're trying to get it to a specific time. But when you don't pull the trigger on the right time, trying to make any other time look the same, you can't replicate it.
Yeah.
And what you're saying about the Hard Times promo, I think it's a great time for the Hard Times promo. Everything is tough on everybody right now. Life is tough. Prices are up. There's war everywhere. Buddy, we are in hard times. Economic despair. We're in the silent depression or whatever. I think that Cody could do an amazing promo like that. And is one thing I know about Cody Rhodes is he can cut a hell of a promo when he wants to, man.
Yes, he can.
Make you believe. Every time I see him, though, dude, I forget how big that neck tattoo is. It's just the placement's so weird. It's like it definitely feels like the guy put it on, and Cody was like, "Fuck." That's a little bit of a thought.
Yeah, literally like, "Fuck." Oh, I gotta go through it now. Like I already paid the deposit, so it's like now this is it. Here, we're really doing this. Maybe it won't be as big as I think it's going to be. But too late, buddy. It's there.
5 inches isn't that big. It's massive on your neck and face area.
Yeah, dude. It's like the first thing you see before Cody. Like, it's the first thing that walks in the room before Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes walks in after the tattoo. It's pretty crazy. But that is it. That is it for all of us here. We are going to end the show. Thank you, of course, to Michael from Suplex Media. But Mike, I want you to let everybody know who you are for a little bit. Floor is yours. Tell people who you are, what you do, what cool things are happening in your fun life over there at Suplex Media, anything new and exciting happening, and, of course, where everybody can find you. I know I put your link in the description so that way people can go find you a little easier, but tell them who the hell you are, man, and what's going on.
Before I put myself over, let me put you over here, Dylan. Man, what a professional. From start to finish, man. It's not too often that I work with folks in the professional wrestling space who have their stuff together quite like you do, man. From the show opening, that beat killer. It was a good song. You're doing great, man. This is awesome. And shout out to you for 10,000 subscribers. That's crazy cool.
Yeah, we're very close to it. Yeah, 9,100 is where we're at right now. And
smash that subscribe button here.
Yeah, please. I know everybody here has been watching, so it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah, but you can follow me at YouTube Suplex_media. I'm also at TikTok. You can remove that underscore. Look, we're just trying to make more wrestling fans. to give you a little background on myself, I was the director of Ohio Valley Wrestling, as I stated earlier. I have been in love with professional wrestling. I've been in hate with professional wrestling. I've been indifferent with professional wrestling. I have gone through the gambit, and I've been on that side. I've been those feelings on this side of the curtain as a fan, and I've been that on the backside of the curtain as the television director. I can't tell you there's not a better art form on this planet. Wrestling delivers, and I think any wrestling is good wrestling.
Yeah.
All wrestling is cool. I don't care if you doesn't matter if you like hardcore deathmatch stuff. It's not really my cup of tea so much, but if you're into that, I get it. If you're into Joshi wrestling, super sick. All the best wrestling moves are coming out of it. If you like anything out of the 90s, moves-wise, you probably like Joshi wrestling. But my idea of my channel is I want to try to make wrestling a little bit more accessible. Sometimes it can be hard because, this is an art form that's been going on for 100 years. So I got some stuff coming down the pipe here to go check out our episodes of You Mark. It's our wrestling game show. Contestants compete to see what is wrong in a statement about the world of professional wrestling. Very tongue-in-cheek, very fun. Good time for all. We are going to be starting our long form content back up. I just got out of some illnesses I was having. I had shingles. If you are a stressed out person, stop being stressed out or you get shingles and holes will be in your back. It's awful. Don't be stressed. Just watch more wrestling.
Right.
But we're going to be doing we'll be doing a look at Diamond Dallas Page coming up. I got a script written out. So we'll be doing one about Diamond Dallas Page and his journey from starting professional wrestling at his mid-30s. I mean, starting and winning his first title when he was in his mid-40s, and then almost kind of losing everything in his ambitions to start DDP Yoga, bringing yoga to the masses, saving the lives of multiple wrestlers. We're going to delve in deep, and then a little thing that I'll be doing afterwards is throughout that research of that, I decided that I'm going to do the DDP Yoga, and I'm going to do a honest 30-day review. I'm going to live and die by the program. I'm going to do exactly what it says, and we'll see how good it really is. And if it's good enough for Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall, man, probably good enough for me. But go ahead and give us a check out. I got a video up right now. Let me sell you on the Insane Clown Posse and why they were actually not bad wrestlers. There's a lot of stuff up there, but go ahead and give that one a look too. I think we can all kind of relate to having that one thing that you love so very much, but that one thing just doesn't love you back. And that's the professional wrestling business for the Insane Clown Posse. Those boys love pro wrestling. It's just nobody in pro wrestling seems to love them. They're kind of the misaligned stepchild, but go check that out, or our game show. Let's see. Other than that, just get an interesting perspective on the world of professional wrestling. Follow more wrestling creators because you don't know everything about wrestling. I don't know everything about wrestling, and that's what's great about this art form. So the more wrestling content, the better, and just be nice to people. There's a lot of people who may not know the things that you know, and we just want to kind of end that toxicity in wrestling. So me and my friends and my cohorts, we're getting together. We're trying to put on some wrestling content that, in this tribalistic world of, WWE versus AEW, I just really want to find those people who are just fans, fans of professional wrestling. You can be a WWE fan, you can be an AEW fan, but as it all boils down, we're all just wrestling fans at the end of the day. So you didn't fall in love with wrestling because of stats and statistics and ratings and 18 to 49 demos. You did not fall in love with wrestling for that. You fell in love with wrestling because of the stories and those athletes and those artists in the ring. So let that speak for itself. No need to, it's just this wrestling. It's an art form. I just can't imagine using another art form like, oh, well, this album's better than so-and-so's album because it has more downloads. No, man, it's just art. This painting's better. More people seen it. No, it's art. It's all good. So shout out to everybody who is producing wrestling content or is out there wrestling, the men and women and everyone who is out there doing that hard work. shout out because without you, we wouldn't get to enjoy this lovely art form that we get to. So give us a follow. Give me a comment. You know, if I say something that you don't like and you think that I'm the dumbest person in professional wrestling, you let me know because I want to know that. So I appreciate it, Dylan. Thank you so much. Great show, dude. You so professional. Gave just to put him over again. He gave me like show notes like before. Like, God, what a real pro, man. Gave me time to like make notes and stuff. Good guy.
Yeah, no, I try to do that with everybody we have on here. I know a lot of people that they normally see on here already kind of know I do the same thing for all of them as well as all the new guests and stuff. I try to give you like a day or two in advance to kind of prepare yourself for the show. Sometimes I forget and then I do it the day of and I'm like, fuck. Like, you know, we'll try to go a little easy so that way it's not too bad or whatnot. But no, I appreciate the kind words. I really do. And of course, like you said, go check yourselves out, man. I'm a big fan of Suplex Media and what you guys are doing over there. Like I said, I found you via TikTok and a bit of fan since, so definitely keep killing it over there and stuff. Absolutely, and we're gonna be subscribing to your YouTube channel right after this as well. So you're gonna have another follower over there, of course. But yeah, that is it. We are going to end it here. Again, Mike, I appreciate everything you've done, everything you're going to be doing. Very excited, very happy to have you here. Everybody on TikTok, I appreciate everyone stopping in and hanging out with us. Everybody here on YouTube and Twitch and everything else, appreciate it. And of course, we shall see each other tomorrow because we are going to be doing a live watch along for Friday Night SmackDown. We got a brand new guest coming on for that. It's going to be myself, Wolf, and of course, Ricky. He from TikTok as well. He's going to be hanging out with us to watch the season premiere of Friday Night SmackDown tomorrow night. And then, of course, Saturday Night Collision. We are doing a watch along right here on the channel immediately following Halloween Havoc over on No Bones About Wrestling, which I'll be a part of as well. And then after all of that, if that wasn't enough for you, Sunday is another podcast right here on the channel as well. We got Mona. She and I are going to go down through a whole slew of more topics to talk about because it's not like we did everything here with Mike. I'm sorry. I couldn't give you the whole entire cake. I have to have a couple other people eat it too. So nonetheless, I want to say again, thank you to everybody hanging out with us. And we shall see each other very, very soon on the next live show. I appreciate it. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.